Welcome back to Court TV Live. We are on a verdict watch in the murder trial for Raoul Valley in Connecticut. Now, the jury is back. They've deliberated now for 9 hours and 42 minutes. They've gone back after they've heard the testimony they requested.
Yeah, they came back 2:52 with that question asking for the readback. Remember, Valley stands accused of fatally stabbing star athlete James McGrath and injuring 3 others at a high school house party back in 2021.
And just moments ago, that jury did come out. They got to hear the testimony from the defendant regarding a witness, Tyler Da Silva. Now remember, that is who the defendant claims and describes as his best friend. So what we're doing is playing it for you in its entirety. We just played the direct examination that was replayed to the jury, and now we're going to bring you the cross-examination while the jury continues deliberating.
Now, at some point in time, you say you saw Tyler back on the lawn, right?
Yeah.
You still had the knife on you at that point, right? Knife was still out in your hand, right? And you come back into the fight, right?
Yeah.
Playing the video.
Now, Tyler's being pushed into the street at this point, right?
Yes.
And you would agree with me that there are no Shelton kids to the right of you, right? There's a car. You can see a car right there, right?
And this looks like
There's kids in front of you,
right, yes.
but there's no kids right to the right of you. There's a car. You can see the car. If there were, we wouldn't be able to see the car, right?
That's true.
Right. There's nobody to the right of you, right? There's a kid in front of you.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of kids
Right, there's a whole bunch of kids over here we can't see, but there's nobody to the right of you, right?
There's a kid next to her.
There's a kid here, but I'm saying, is this you right here?
Yes.
Right. To the right of you, do you see a kid or a car?
That's the street.
That's the street, and there's a car there, right?
Yeah.
So there's nobody to the right of you, right? There's a car.
Somebody in the street.
And there's nobody to the left of you other than Tyler Da Silva, right?
Yeah.
So when you're going back in, there's just a wall, right?
It's like this.
Right. But you're not surrounded at that point, right?
That point, no.
No. But you go back in, Tyler's already pushed out into the street, right?
The video. I'm on my way back, guys.
But Tyler is no longer engaged in the fight, right?
I don't remember.
You don't remember that. So you just blacked out and ran right back into the fold. That's your testimony today?
Being on the ground, and it was just like a shoe horse of people.
A shoe horse, but not a circle. You were not encircled, right?
But was there anybody behind me?
Right. There's nobody behind you.
I don't think so.
Right. So you could have, if you chose to, you could have left. You could have retreated, right? So you could not have left because there were people around you?
Yes.
So you just said there was a semicircle of people on the yard. Now you're saying that you were surrounded.
Just like this.
So semicircle, right?
Yeah.
Not a circle. Circle goes like this, right?
Yeah, I wasn't going to turn my back to the many people.
You weren't going to. I'd move to strike as non-responsive here. You indicated when you made it back to the car, you were still terrified, right?
Yeah.
You were still scared. You came back in anyway, right? With the knife. Then you ran over to the edge of the grass, right? And you passed Tyler, right?
Yes.
He passed you on your left, correct?
Yes.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the jury, I hope that you have others. Sorry. Are you recording? Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, the jury, you've heard the portion of the testimony that the court believes was relevant to answer your question. If you go back into the deliberations room and you feel that there is additional testimony that you need to put any of that testimony into perspective, whatever it is you're deliberating on, please just send out another note and we will do our best to answer any questions with any playback concerning any other issues or matters. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for continuing to follow the court's proceedings and procedure relative to the jury charge and your duty as jurors. I appreciate it. Thank you. You can go back into your deliberations.
All right, so Judge Sherry Murphy sends them back. We know they've been deliberating already. That happened just a little while ago, and I just will say this. The prosecution really tried to focus on two things. Number one, if you remember the video, Tyler gets pushed back into the street. At that point, he's trying to claim that the threat was over. Right? And the other thing he's claiming is about the duty to retreat. He says, you were in the street, he was in the street. Why didn't you guys just leave at that point? 2 points that really help the prosecution. We have to see how it all plays out. Let's bring in our guest, still with us, criminal defense attorney Jeff Wolf. Jeff, great to see you. Thank you so much for being with us on the program. Love to get your thoughts on what you think played out there and what this jury might be looking for by asking for that particular testimony.
Well, Michael, I think they're looking for exactly what you've been mentioning. They're trying to figure out whether he was defending his friend to go towards his self-defense and defense of others claim that he's got here. That is the only thing that can explain them being deadlocked and being out this long on this case. And I think what the prosecution and the defense have here is something that they are arguing in this trial versus what the jury is back in that room deliberating. What the jury seems to be deliberating is what actually happened that night, which is a 16-year-old kid in a situation that is different than the grown man sitting in the courtroom. The prosecution, as you just heard in that video, is aggressively cross-examining a grown man, but the person that was standing in the middle of that fight was a 16-year-old scared kid. And I think that is what the jury is trying to figure out, is was that 16-year-old kid reasonably scared for himself and his friend? And I think that that's going to be what turns this jury, is do they think a 16-year-old scared kid is different from the grown man sitting in the courtroom?
All right, and let me ask you this, Jeffrey. We know with James McGrath, the top charge is murder, and then first-degree manslaughter, reckless. So they do have lessers to consider. In your opinion, just hearing the direct examination of what he says happened with Tyler and his best friend was out there getting beaten up and he wasn't going to leave him, versus a little bit of the cross-examination and why didn't you retreat, where do you think they might be leaning in those top charges when it comes to the death of James McGrath?
It is so hard to know where a deadlocked, long deliberating jury is leaning, because it's hard to know exactly what they're hanging their hat on. But I will say that the longer they are out, the more somebody is back there saying that they can't convict this kid, because a jury that is ready to convict is usually going to come back fairly quickly. That is my opinion.
And it's almost 10 hours they've been deliberating. All right, Jeffrey, stand by. A lot to talk about. Coming up next, we will head back to Iowa for the Widow's Words murder trial for Karina Cooper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, two parents now facing charges after an alleged honor-killing attempt on their own daughter. We're unpacking shocking video of the attack as our experts weigh in.
Closing Arguments tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
Donna Adelson is facing charges of murder, the death of her former son-in-law.
This is terrible. Now that Donna has turned into a defendant, what's next for the Adelson clan?
The Matriarch Mastermind Murder Trial. Live coverage this August on Court TV.
Welcome back, folks. We're following the Widow's Words murder trial, where testimony continues for a fourth day. Defendant Karina Cooper is charged with first-degree murder in the death of her husband, Ryan. He was found with 2 gunshot wounds to his face in the couple's home back in 2021.
Prosecutors say she conspired with her lover, Houston Danker, to kill her husband for his life insurance money. Right now, we want to get you back into the courtroom. On the stand is Ryan Cooper's older sister. This is Michelle Wilson.
You're Ryan Cooper's sister, correct?
That's correct.
Older or younger?
Older.
How much older are you than Ryan?
10 years.
Okay. How are you currently employed?
Yes, I am.
How are you employed?
I am employed by Cooper Farms, Inc. as the accountant, bookkeeper.
So as the accountant for Cooper Farms, what are you doing?
I pay the bills, handle all the bank transactions, payroll, loan payments, expenses, all that kind of thing.
Pretty well familiar then with the structure and finances of Cooper Farms?
Yes.
Could you explain for us what Cooper Farms is? Is that Cooper Farms Incorporated?
It is a corporation. Yep, farm corporation.
Okay. Could you just explain the structure of Cooper Farms?
It is a family farm business. It's been in the family for several generations. We have we own land and farm that with corn and bean crops. We also do some trucking. We also have livestock and invest in livestock as well.
So the different things that you just discussed is obviously some land. There's some cattle, there's trucks, farm equipment as well.
Yep, farm equipment, land.
And is that all owned then by Cooper Farms?
The land is partially owned directly by my father. The farm corporation owns land. The majority, safe to say, all of the equipment is owned by the corporation. There's also a few acreages that are with homes that are owned by my dad as well.
Approximately how many homes?
There's 4 homes.
Would that include 1846 K Avenue, where Ryan and Karina Cooper had been living in 2021?
Yep.
We've heard some testimony that Ryan Cooper and Aaron Cooper were farming some land together. Who owned that land, to your knowledge?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Yes, Ryan and Aaron. Are you having difficulty hearing me?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a hum from the construction outside that...
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
My question was, Ryan and Aaron, we've heard testimony that they were farming some land together. To your knowledge, who owned that land?
My father owns that land.
Based on your position with Cooper Farms, did you have some sense of Ryan's and Karina's finances?
Not necessarily, from observations, but I never was involved directly in preparing tax returns or financial statements or any of that.
And we've heard some testimony that they owned a couple of trucks and maybe 1 or 2 pieces of farm equipment. To your knowledge, did they own anything else, such as farmland, other properties, anything like that?
I had no knowledge of farmland that they would have owned. My brother and I have since become administrators of Ryan's estate, and through that, based on paperwork there was no land, very little, just a couple of small pieces of farm equipment, his vehicle, and some personal assets.
Do you remember the approximate value of, you said, a couple pieces of farm equipment and a couple of personal vehicles, the rough value of those items?
Like the entire estate as a whole, what they valued the assets at, or just?
Those items that I just mentioned.
Yeah. Net with expenses and outstanding loans and whatnot, $200,000.
We've also heard some testimony that Ryan was involved in farming. Obviously, we just talked about the fact that he and Aaron were farming some land. You mentioned that trucking was a component of what Cooper Farms does. To your knowledge, was Ryan Cooper involved?
Raoul Valley in Connecticut back in court. We want to go right into that courtroom and find out what is happening now with the jury deliberations.
I do have to close the facility and get us out of here by 5 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead then direct you to adjourn your deliberations for the day. I just want to remind you, obviously, follow and continue to follow the rules of juror conduct. And also remember that you can only discuss this matter with each other when all 12 of you are present in the jury room here in the courthouse, okay? Thank you very much for all the time you are giving to this matter. We all greatly appreciate it. Have a good evening, and we will see you back tomorrow. Thank you so much. Court stands adjourned.
All rise. Court's adjourned.
All right. 10 hours of deliberating. 2 times they've said we cannot reach a verdict. They were given instructions this morning to keep trying. They're coming back again in the morning. Let's get Jeffrey Wolf to weigh in. What do you think? We know now she just has to close the courthouse at the end of the business day. No surprise there. They'll come back in the morning. They will resume on day three, right, of deliberating.
Yeah, I mean, judges got to let the courthouse security go home at some point, right? Some judges will keep security there as long as the jury asks to be held. But if a jury says they're not close, people got to go home. They sleep on it. They come back in the morning. Sometimes you see those early morning verdicts. People come back in the morning with a fresh head. They come in, they hit it, and sometimes they come in with a verdict.
Jeffrey, if you're the defense attorney in this case, how are you feeling right now going home based on what we've seen over the course of this day?
It really depends how you feel about that testimony that they listen to. If you feel good about it, you think, okay, they're going to go home, they're going to sleep on that testimony they heard, they're going to come back, and they're going to give me my verdict. If you feel bad about that testimony, you hope that they go home, sleep, and forget all about it and come back and start afresh with something new.
Jeff, how are you feeling about the testimony that we heard?
I feel pretty good about it because my hope is that they feel that the prosecutor the way I felt about him. I thought he was a bully in that testimony that they played on cross. You got a 16-year-old kid and you're arguing with him about whether it was a semicircle or a circle. A 16-year-old kid doesn't view an open-ended circle as a way he's going to get away from a bunch of people beating up him and his friend. So I feel good for the defense with that testimony.
And don't forget there was beer. Now, a lot of the witnesses said they'd had 2 beers. I'm a little suspicious of that, but I'm just saying there was drinking involved as well. You add that to the mix. What kid is necessarily going to remember the details? Let me ask you this. So, and Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, the very first we are hopelessly deadlocked was on the murder charge. And she said you can start at the other charge and work your way the other direction. What does that mean to you that they were deadlocked on murder and maybe now they started at the other end and they're still not there yet?
Well, I think if they were deadlocked on murder and then you started a lower charge, you're saying to yourselves, well, if the judge is saying if you're deadlocked on murder, start working on the other charges, usually as a jury, you're saying, okay, we can't do murder because we're not able to agree on that. So now what you're trying to do, and it's been hours since they did that, they're probably not coming to agreement on the lower charges either. So at some point they may have to punt and say, we can't convict this kid. We can't agree that he did this. And so I think that that's what it means, is that they have moved on from murder and now they're just trying to decide if they can convict of anything.
Yeah, and they put a note in last night that they then were deadlocked on all the other charges.
Oh, thank you. That's right. That's the part I didn't remember.
All right. Thanks to Jeffrey Wolf for joining us today. Truly appreciate it, Jeff. We'll see you soon, folks. Stick around. Coming up, more testimony in the Widow's Words murder trial. So please stay with us here on Court TV, your front row seat to justice.